Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I'm Dave Furtado.
And I'm meteorologist Jefferson Donovan.
And welcome to Keep Her Quick, your latest local news and weather commercial free in about 17 minutes or less. We're going to jump right over to weather because today is kind of a copy-paste day.
Yeah, today is going to be very similar to yesterday in terms of temperatures and in terms of sky cover. Now, I understand that at the time of this recording, many folks are waking up to some dense cloud cover, but we will be looking at passing clouds and sunshine throughout the course of this afternoon. Temperatures today are going to be absolutely wonderful, with most of us seeing highs into the 80s. Now, as we go into Wednesday, we're going to be looking at much cooler temperatures for hump day. There's also going to be a good chance of showers around the forecast area on Wednesday as well. But then as we do progress to the weekend, we will be looking at sunny skies and we will be looking at a warm up as well. Now, as we take a look at the satellite picture, there is a low pressure system barreling towards British Columbia, and that is what is going to be driving the moisture into our forecast area for tomorrow. We will take a better look at those rain chances coming on Wednesday straight ahead.
Thanks, Jefferson. We'll begin this morning in Grant County. 4 people are in the hospital after 2 separate crashes yesterday. The first happened at around 3:35 in the morning. According to State Patrol, the 27-year-old Ephrata man was heading east on State Route 28 near milepost 44 when his car left the roadway, coming to a stop in a ditch. All occupants were injured and transported to Samaritan Hospital. Troopers say the 27-year-old was under the influence of drugs or alcohol, and he fell asleep at the wheel. He's facing vehicular assault and DUI charges. As for the second crash, troopers say it happened just after 10 yesterday morning. An 18-year-old East Wenatchee woman was traveling east on Road 9, approaching State Route 283, while a 26-year-old man was going south on 283, approaching Road 9. That's when the 18-year-old failed to stop at a stop sign, hitting the other driver at the intersection. The woman was life-flighted to Confluence Health, and the man also was transported there. The 18-year-old is facing charges for failing to stop at a stop sign. And KEPR is launching a new series focusing on the fentanyl epidemic that has sunk its teeth into the Yakima community for several years now. In the first story of our week-long series, KEPR's Anissa Williams reports on the effects of fentanyl, the importance of prevention, and why harm reduction tools like Narcan are saving lives.
We are #1 in Yakima County for overdose deaths per 100,000 in the entire state of Washington.
At the center of it, illicit fentanyl, cheap, potent, and deadly. Just a few grains can be fatal, and now even stronger substances like xylazine and carfentanil are emerging. Fentanyl changes more than behavior. It rewires the brain.
So your body and your brain say, this is my #1 need.
That's why harm reduction like Narcan and medication for opioid use disorder is a critical step towards recovery.
Things like Suboxone or buprenorphine actually will bump out the fentanyl in the opioid receptors, and they replace it.
But many face a gap. Insurance often runs out after 28 days, just as someone is beginning to function and think clearly again.
We're sending them back out on the streets, and what are they going to do? They're going to use again.
Prevention starts early. Most adults with addiction began as teens, often using alcohol, tobacco, or marijuana to cope.
There's 10 different adverse childhood experiences, and the more that one individual experiences as a youth, the more likely they're going to turn to substances to cope as a youth.
For Tobin, education is key, especially for parents.
I really, truly want to sincerely believe that it's just lack of knowledge, that parents just don't understand that being casual about it or allowing it, saying it's just a rite of passage, how that potentially could lead to that child becoming addicted to fentanyl.
She urges open, early conversations starting as young as age 7. Even Narcan, once controversial, has proven essential.
Now, I used to be a believer that Narcan enabled people to continue use, and I became educated with those statistics because without Narcan, all those people would have died.
In 2023 alone, Yakima Fire manually counted 1,300 overdose calls in 3 months. That's just one agency. If you count the whole year, and include other local departments, it's estimated that there were around 6,000 overdoses in Yakima County. That's 96 deaths.
That means 5,904 lives were saved as a result of Narcan, and nobody knows it.
Data is now finally catching up. Thanks to Yakima County Commissioners for approving $5,000 in funding, local responders now use OD Map, a tool that gives near real-time overdose tracking across first responder networks.
It's not 100% perfect because there's still overdoses at home that people may not report, but we will get a better idea on the magnitude of the problem.
The work continues through prevention, treatment, and harm reduction, driven by a simple call to action.
Don't complain about the problem unless you're willing to be part of the solution.
KIMA's Denise Williams, thank you. Tonight, part 2 of our series, we'll hear from families impacted by fentanyl and the devastation they have suffered through the loss of loved ones. Each of our 5 episodes will be airing across both the 5 and 6 p.m. newscasts all this week, with the full documentary available up on our YouTube channel, KIMA Action News. And the city of Sunnyside has officially repealed a rental housing ordinance that's at the center of a long-running legal battle. The program hasn't been enforced in years, but it's still the focus of a lawsuit filed by now Governor Bob Ferguson when he served as Attorney General. KIMA's Anissa Williams was busy yesterday and also has this story.
The program was originally intended to reduce crime in rental properties, but in 2019, the Attorney General's office filed a federal lawsuit against Sunnyside. According to a 2019 press release from the Attorney General's office, Ferguson said, quote, "Regardless of public policy goals, city governments can't sidestep the law and unlawfully evict families. Families, including those with children, lost their homes as a result of Sunnyside's unlawful actions. That is wrong, which is why my office is taking action to defend the civil rights of residents." The lawsuit alleges that tenants were forced from their homes without court orders, claims Sunnyside denies. According to a recent press release from George Mix, Sunnyside's attorney, Mix said, quote, "The state signed the statewide CRFHP into law in June of 2020 and offered no training or support for local cities. Then the state sued the city for using the program it created. The reality is, Sunnyside abandoned the program 6 years ago, and the council's action formally removes it from the municipal code. The city of Sunnyside is dealing with a well-publicized $4 million budget deficit and the state's aggressive pursuit of this lawsuit over an ordinance that has been dormant since before COVID further burdens a city that is already struggling economically." And while the Attorney General's office cited multiple tenants in the lawsuit, Mix questions how the case was built, saying, quote, "It is important to note that none of the individual tenants allegedly affected ever filed a claim against the city. This lawsuit was filed only after the AG's office cold called the tenants." Records show the state has committed more than 8,000 staff hours to the case, including 13 assistant attorney generals, 5 paralegals, and 2 investigators. Mix said, quote, "Frankly, the lawsuit is a profound waste of taxpayers' dollars, which are funding both the state's pursuit of this case and the city's defense." With trial set for January, Mix says Sunnyside is prepared to defend itself in court, saying, quote, "The Civil Rights Division of the Attorney General's office should not be in the business of pushing Washington cities into financial hardship, especially towards potential bankruptcy."
KIMA's Anissa Williams, thank you once again. And the Attorney General's office is seeking monetary damages for unlawfully evicted tenants, recovery of attorney's fees, and accountability for alleged violations of civil rights and housing laws. And speaking of city council, it's Washington primary election season for many, and positions in local government and some possible propositions could be on your ballot. If you aren't registered to vote yet or haven't received your ballot, here is some time until 8 p.m. tonight to get registered or to get a replacement for that ballot.
The opportunity for you to vote on those local issues, the government closest to the people, right? So your school districts, your city council positions, your fire districts, those are all on the ballot.
So far, a little over 17,000 people have submitted their ballot in Yakima County, a return rate of about 13%. Kittitas County voters have a return rate of around 25% so far, with about 6,800 votes received. Benton County has about 14,000 ballots accepted, with just under 14% returned. And for Walla Walla, 8,600 ballots have been submitted. That's a return rate of 22%. Franklin County still has the highest return rate of 27%. 327 ballots have been accepted. All ballots must be dropped off by 8 p.m. today in one of the many red or white drop boxes located around your area. If you are using the U.S. mail to send in your ballot, a reminder, it must be postmarked on or before August 5th. And another reminder for Yakima folks, mail is no longer being processed locally. So if you mail your ballot today, there's no guarantee it will be postmarked on time. If you're completing it today, it's best to just put it in one of those election drop boxes. As for what's on the ballot, it's a short one for Franklin County. Only voters in Connell. The mayor's seat is up for grabs there. 3 candidates are on the ballot, not including current Mayor Lee Barrow. 2 of the candidates currently serve on the city council. As for Benton County, there are 8 council positions up for election, 3 in Kennewick, 4 in Richland, and 1 in Prosser. 1 Kennewick and 1 Grandview School Board position are also on the ballot. For local measures, Benton County Fire District 1 is looking to get a levied lid lift passed at the rate of $1.50 per $1,000 of assessed property value. It would pay for more personnel, replacing medical equipment, and maintenance. Now, for Walla Walla voters in Waitsburg, they're choosing their next mayor. It's a 3-candidate race, including the current mayor, who is seeking another term. The county is also asking voters to allow a sales and use tax increase by 20 cents for every $100 to go to operating, maintaining, and updating emergency communication systems and facilities. Yakima County voters can choose the coroner. That seat is up for grabs. Granger and Yakima have a council position up, and Mapton has a mayoral seat. School board seats in Yakima, Sela, Grandview, and Sunnyside are also up for grabs. Yakima County Fire 5 has a commissioner's seat on the ballot as well. Again, all ballots need to be submitted on or before 8 p.m. tonight. Results will be certified on August 22nd. And Jefferson, for folks that are going to want to get out the door today to either pop in to an elections facility to get registered or just to drop off their ballot, what can they expect out the door today?
Yeah, very nice weather across the forecast area on this Tuesday. Passing clouds and sunshine, high temperatures that are certainly not going to be terribly hot. High temperatures around the region you can see. I would say in the Tri-Cities, we are primarily going to be sticking in the mid to upper 80s for the Tri-Cities today. Look for those mid to upper 80s for the Yakima Valley, low to mid 80s this afternoon coming for the Kittitas Valley with mid to upper 80s for the Blue Mountain foothills again, as everybody does see passing clouds and sunshine overhead. Now, we are not anticipating too much wind either today or tomorrow, but it will be breezy in spots. We could see gusts up to 25 miles per hour in the Tri-Cities today. Similar story for Pendleton with gusts up to 30 miles per hour in Ellensburg. And as we go into Wednesday, wind will be similar in both magnitude and direction. So wind is not going to be a huge factor over the next couple of days, but if you are spending time outside, just don't be too surprised if you are hit with a gust here and there. Now let's talk about the next 2 days after today. Wednesday is going to be very cool. Keep in mind, average high temperatures this time of year are in the low to mid 90s. And on Wednesday, we're only going to be talking about highs in the mid 70s to low 80s. There's also going to be a chance of showers on Wednesday. Best chances of showers will be in Yakima and Kittitas counties, but a slight chance of showers will exist elsewhere. As we head into Thursday, we're going to be talking about similar temperatures with highs only in the mid 70s to low 80s, with a slight chance of some lingering showers around the region, but most of us will be staying dry for the penultimate day of the work week. So let's talk about the Storm Tracker Futurecast as we go into Wednesday. Again, the primary point for precipitation will be Kittitas County and Yakima County. Can't rule out a slight chance of showers elsewhere through the Columbia Basin or along the Blue Mountain foothills. But again, the biggest place, or I should say the best opportunities for precipitation will be found in Kittitas and Yakima counties. As we do head into Thursday, the Futurecast doesn't do the best job of showing it, but there is going to be a region-wide slight chance of showers on Thursday, but a majority of us will be staying dry. After we get through Thursday, we will open up the door for sunshine on Friday with more sunshine through the weekend. And for now, I'm going to toss it back to Dave.
Thanks, Jefferson. On to some education news this morning. Families are learning more about the new Washington Spectrum schools, which are designed for children with special needs. An informational meeting was held yesterday in Ellensburg to discuss future plans. KRMA's Aiden Connor tells us more.
The main goal for Washington Spectrum schools is to provide a personalized learning experience for children with special needs, while also trying to make school a comfortable and welcoming environment.
We have a very proactive approach that focuses on building skills, right? If we're teaching students how to do things, how to be independent, how to communicate, there's less need for engaging in challenging behavior. If we're making school a place where they want to be, they're not engaging in behavior to try to escape school or avoid going to school.
The schools will start out as private institutions with the goal of transitioning to public charter, but there are hurdles to go through.
Right now, the legislation in Washington doesn't allow for the creation of new charter schools, so we are working with organizations like Law Charters to advocate for change in that direction and to really say to legislatures, look, this is a school that our state, our communities really needs.
As a private institution, the annual tuition to attend Washington Spectrum schools will be $24,000, covering the costs of teachers, curriculum, and materials needed for classrooms.
But we do understand that cost is a barrier, so we are working to offer scholarships to our first-year families based on their need and the availability of funds.
Community members were passionate in expressing their feelings on the lack of resources for special education students and showed support for their proposed tuition.
Disabilities we're talking about with students isn't something that happens to come from the demographically affluent or the poor. This is something that strikes America across demographics. You guys have value here, so be sure to put that in there. And don't ever apologize for charging for that.
With support from the community and a defined mission, Washington Spectrum Schools looks to make a name for themselves in the coming years and provide a unique service for those who need it most. Reporting for Action News, I'm Aiden Connor.
Aiden Connor, thank you. And Washington Spectrum schools are both open in Ellensburg and Maple Valley. We'll continue to provide more information about those schools as we learn more. And finally, tonight across the country, our folks are hosting events to give their communities a chance to get to know their police department better. Several local agencies are getting involved, including the Kennewick Police Department, which is offering free food, games, and more. They say it's all about getting closer to those they serve.
This is just a big event. Like I said, it's nationally known. All across the nation, police departments and cities are doing this. And it's just the opportunity to get out and meet your local police officers, ask questions, talk about concerns you have in the neighborhood, just bringing everybody together to engage a good conversation, talk about resources and how we can work together to have a safer community.
Now, the Kennewick Police Department isn't the only agency getting in on the action. Pasco Police, Richland Police, and West Richland PD are also hosting similar events that get started at 5 this afternoon. And that does it for us. Thank you for watching this episode of Keep Her Quick. For more local news and weather, you can head over to our websites, KEPR and KIMATV.com, as well as our Facebook pages. But while you're here, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to keep up with our latest mini newscasts Monday through Friday. Have a terrific Tuesday, everybody.